One offer, one outcome, one avatar. That is all you need to build a business to 7 figures. Sure, there are a few guiding principles which I'll run you through today, but that is it. One offer, one outcome, one avatar. That is all you need. And the thing is, you already have the offer, you already have the outcome, and you already have the avatar most likely. And that is because you already have gained skills, experience, knowledge. You probably worked with people, maybe in the workplace, maybe in a corporate role, whatever it is. You've already got everything you need to build these 3 things and turn it into a 7-figure business. And essentially today, I want to extract that knowledge, that experience, everything that you've experienced in your life, and we're going to take all that knowledge and put it into an offer that you can sell and grow to a 7-figure business. The guiding principles I kind of want to run you through is your first offer has to be easy. It has to be easy to deliver because right now you suck, which I know sounds really, really harsh, but you will get better. It's just at the moment you don't have the case studies, you don't have the testimonials, you don't have the enough experience to go to someone like a founder, like a solopreneur, whatever, and go, you know what, I can actually help you. And so you need to find the existing experience you already have and then build on it. And get better and get better and get better. And this is kind of based on a principle by Alex Mosey, who I very much admire. And so that's something that you have to consider. It has to be easy to deliver. Don't overthink. A lot of people overthink their offer and a lot of people overthink. And what happens is they get into this state of analysis paralysis and they keep building and they keep thinking, oh, you know what? I just want to make it better and better and better. You actually get better by getting in front of the people that you want to sell to, learning from them and building your offer and making it better. But the thing is, I know you want something to go in with in the beginning, which is why I built this episode, because I want you to go in with confidence that you can actually deliver and help that person on the other side. That's why I built this episode. So what I'm going to run through is I'm going to start with the guiding principles. And basically the guiding principles of building an offer, they're very, very simple. We'll run through them. Is don't copy someone else. That is a huge mistake that people have. And there's a kind of way of looking at this, which again was by Alex Mosey, which was basically, if you copy someone else, it's a race to the bottom because you'll be fighting on margin, trying to make your offer as cheap as possible until eventually you have no margin left to actually pay yourself something and you have no margin left to actually run the business. So if you copy someone else, it is a race to the bottom. That's what it is. And so you have to make sure that your offer is unique. It has to be unique because if it isn't, no one's going to buy it. So real offers come from solving problems. So we have to solve a problem in order to have a viable offer that's in demand and validated. That is the most important thing. There has to be a problem that needs solving, and that problem has to be harsh enough. It has to be something that someone's been living with for a while, and they have to solve it or they're in trouble. So that's what we got to find. The first offer that you create will most likely be something one-to-one. Because right now you don't have a delivery system, you don't have a team, you don't have other resources to actually deliver it except for yourself. So most likely to be one-to-one. So what we have to do is we must have what's called high gross profit. You have to make some money from this because at that beginning phase, yes, at the beginning you could do it for free, get a bit of experience, get the testimonials, get the case studies, but eventually it's got to have profit because you've got to be able to scale this business using that extra profit that you're getting and just putting it back in. So that's a kind of really, really important thing. The other thing about doing a one-to-one is it feels special. You know, if you've had a friend and maybe you needed some advice and they came around and they sat with you and they kind of listened to what you were saying and they kind of went through everything, you probably felt really special in that moment because they came, they sat with you one-to-one. It was just you and them and you felt special. That offer that you create has to make that person feel special. So how do we do this? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my whiteboard, and on the whiteboard, what I'm going to do is, one of the first things, as I've already mentioned, is your offer has to be unique. Your offer has to be unique. That is the most important thing when building an offer. The other thing is expensive. Like I said, you want something which has some profit, has a margin, so that you can just put that and pour it straight back into the business so that you can scale. The other thing is it has to be sticky. So by having an offer which is what's called sticky, you know, Coca-Cola, it's a really good example. Someone might try Coca-Cola when they're like 8. And the thing is, they will then drink it until the end of their life, probably. They'll probably, whenever they get a meal deal, whatever it is, they'll probably get Coke with it. And so it's a sticky product. They keep rebuying it and they keep wanting to reconsume it. That is a sticky product, not just because Coca-Cola is sticky, but because people keep buying it over and over again, and it's the same customer buying it. So that's why you want it to be sticky. You want something which can be bought again and again and again. Or the other example is like a retainer model. So like people pay monthly for it. So that's what's called a sticky product. The other thing is, and I've already touched on this as well, air. So basically you want to create an offer which is unique, expensive, sticky, air. Air means it's easy to deliver. It's like if I gave someone air, I mean, it's everywhere. It's easy to deliver, and it has to be so effortless for you to deliver that service or that product. So your first offer has to be unique, expensive, sticky, air. That is important. Now, at the moment, you're probably thinking, okay, right, how do I make an offer which is unique, expensive, sticky, air? What I've done is I've made a custom GPT, which is basically going to take all of your knowledge, your skill sets, everything that you've ever accomplished, everything in your life. It's going to pull all of that and it's going to make it into an offer which is unique, expensive, sticky, air. So that you are able to create an offer that is so specific to you and is so unique that no one else can copy it, because that is the most important thing. And so coming back to what I kind of said at the beginning is you must have one offer, one outcome, one avatar. What I'm going to cover, kind of using the GPT, is this: the one offer and the one outcome that people can get from consuming your offer. So for example, if I said to someone, I'm going to help them book 5 to 10 qualified meetings a month, that's the outcome. Now the offer of that is, I'm going to do that through one-to-one coaching. So that's kind of the difference between the two. So one's the outcome, what they can expect, and the offer is kind of the deliverable, what it looks like. So there are a few ways, because you're probably thinking, okay, how the hell do I make this unique? You know, obviously yourself is unique, but there are other ways to make this unique. So there are things, and if you haven't already, purchase this book by Alex Mosey. It literally runs through everything that you could possibly need to build an offer. So a lot of what we're covering today is from this book. And so if you haven't already, definitely purchase it, because it just changes your perspective on how this works. But basically, in the book, it runs through what's called an offer enhancer. So an offer enhancer are kind of ways to differentiate yourself from the competition. So you've got to find ways where you can differentiate yourself from your competitors so that your offer looks unique. Now, as I've mentioned, by making it expensive, that is a way of differentiating yourself. Because if someone looks at, I don't know, a lead gen service, for example, and someone's charging, $500 one time to do the service, whereas someone else is charging $2,000 a month to do the service, you're going to think, okay, well, the $2,000 a month must be better. Even if they are delivering exactly the same thing and they're doing it the same way, you probably assumed because it's $2,000 a month, it's better and that you'll get a better quality of service. And this was actually tested. There was a study done where essentially, I think it was 100 people were in a room and they were all given 3 glasses of wine, and the labels on the bottles on the table were covered, and it just said cheap, kind of medium, and expensive. Okay, and those are the bottles. They were then served each wine, and they were told, okay, now you got to rate, each wine. Lo and behold, the cheapest was deemed as the worst. The medium price one was deemed as in the middle, and the most expensive wine was deemed as the best. What they weren't told was that all the wines are exactly the same. So the only thing that kind of determined, and this is obviously psychological, they went, oh, that one's more expensive, so it must be better. So that is a way of differentiating yourself, having something more expensive. The other ways, and this is where you come into the offer enhancers, is you can have guarantees. So if I don't sign you 5 clients within a month, I will give you your money back. That's like an example of a guarantee. So money back guarantees you probably come across in day-to-day life. Naming, this is another one. And basically this is like by making the offer seem really, really unique to you. So if I said, I help fitness coaches scale to 30K a month without paid ads by building a high trust lead gen system on LinkedIn. So by naming the offer in a way that is specific to fitness coaches, I've differentiated myself. Whereas if I just said, I help business owners scale to 30K a month, and I said that, it doesn't seem unique. Whereas if I said, I help SMBs between the 200,000 to 1 million a year mark in tech help scale to, they're like, oh wow, this offer's for me. So if you name the offer in the right way and it seems specific to that audience, they'll go, oh wow, this must be for me. Another way of doing it is bonuses. So bonuses, I'll write this out here, bonuses. And this is basically like, for example, you could give someone a discount. So that could be like a bonus, like you give someone a discount. Hey, look, if you jump in now, it will be 30% cheaper. So that's like kind of like a bonus. The other thing is like, hey, look, say you were selling a program, for example, be like, hey, look, I am willing to do 2 free one-to-one sessions with you. So that's like a bonus. So you're adding something on top of the original offer. So that's a way of differentiating yourself as well. Another way is scarcity. So scarcity is another way of differentiating yourself. So it's like, for example, and this is something you can use at the beginning. This is probably one of the most important ones at the beginning. Because your first offer will most likely be one-to-one, there is only one of you. So most likely you can't take on 100 people at the beginning, especially if it's a service. So you just say, hey, look, I'll be totally honest with you. I can only do 5 spots this month. That's all I can do. That's it. So that's creating scarcity and people are thinking, oh wow, there's only 5 spots. I really want to go for that. So that's something that you will most likely use, especially at the beginning, to kind of drive traffic to yourself, and people, they kind of rush for it. They're kind of rushing for the offer. Oh my God, there's only 5 spots left. Okay, I really want to go for it. So that's another way. The other thing is urgency. So these are very similar, as you probably guessed, but urgency is like, hey, look, the offer ends in 24 hours. That's like urgency. So people are like, oh my God, it's 30% off now. It won't be in 24 hours. I must buy this now. So that's urgency. So that's kind of all the what's called offer enhancers. So those are other ways of differentiating yourself. So you want to create an offer which is unique, expensive, sticky, and it must have, maybe you don't have to have all of these, by the way. You could have 1 or 2. This will also help differentiate, but it could have a guarantee. It could be scarce. It could have a bonus. So just finding ways to differentiate your offer is so important, because that's how you're going to sell in the beginning. Something which doesn't seem like everything else, which is why I said don't copy people, because then your offer just blends in with all the noise. So don't do that. Hopefully that made sense. I just kind of wanted to go through the kind of guiding principles so that you understood what a good offer actually looks like. And now we're actually going to build that offer. So what I have done is, I did suggest in the last episode, if you didn't watch it, no worries. What you need to do is you need to create a Google Doc or a Word document, whatever it is, or even a piece of paper, whatever you would like, preferably online. I'll tell you why in a minute. You need to sit down, and I'll tell you a really, really quick way of doing this, but you need to sit down and go through all your knowledge, all your experience, everything you've ever done, everything you've ever accomplished, just everything that you've done in your life, just put it onto that document. And there's a really easy way of doing this. And if you go into ChatGPT, and it has this like quite nice dictate function where it would basically just transcribe what you're saying. Just say everything that you've accomplished, everything, all the courses that you've done, everything. Just talk into ChatGPT and just lay it all out there. Then at the end, just say, can you just put this into like a neat ordering and just like kind of lay out all of my experience. And so what you would have done is you would have talked into GPT and you would have basically just said, this is everything I've ever accomplished, like all my knowledge, all the courses I've done, everything. And then copy that, put it straight into a Google Doc, which is exactly what I did. And it would just put it into, you could even ask it to kind of categorize it. So like, hey, look, this is my marketing experience, for example, this is my coding experience, and it'll just kind of categorize. Then with that Google Doc, we are going to use that to build your offer. So what I have done is I have created a custom GPT, which I will put down below in the description. I will also put it as a comment as well. And basically, all you need to do is you need to go into this Offer Strategist GPT and just click Start. I'll come back, be like, great, let's get started. To build your scalable, validated, 7-figure capable offer, I need to review this PDF, so the Google Doc, and then it's kind of giving you a list of what you can include. So what I would do, I'd have this open on one screen, and as you're talking to the GPT, just kind of go through that list and go, okay, have I included this? Have I included that? Just to make sure you've got everything. And something that people skip over is like, if I'd been watching an influencer, like Alex Hormozi, like Dan Martell, like Iman Gadzhi, whatever, say that. Say, look, I really listened to his principles. I understand a lot of it. I consumed a lot of his content, because that all feeds into your knowledge and what you can use to build the first offer. Anyway, once you've done that, paste it into a Google Doc, and I'm just going to copy mine. So this is like all my experience. So I'm just going to put down here. That's the bottom. Cool. I'm just going to copy that. Then go to the GPT, which is here, and just paste all of that. So paste. So that's everything that I've ever accomplished. And then it's going to basically analyze that and go, okay, what have you already accomplished that is a monetizable skill? And so it's going to be like, okay, patterns of success. You know, I've consistently trained people with zero experience. I have a track record in sales. The social proof, I've closed $500,000 in 6 months via by chat, all sorts of things like this. And then it's going to ask you a few kind of clarifying questions. So who would be your favorite clients to work with out of all of these? Who would you rather sell? Would you rather sell done for you, done with you, or coaching and consulting? Very, very quickly, done for you is like someone comes to your business and they go, look, I really need you to generate leads for me. And then you do the whole process. So they just go, here's the money, and then you do it. Done with you is essentially like a program, for example. So like someone might go into a program, they'll have like videos and tutorials to watch, but alongside that, they may also have a coaching call with you. So it's kind of, they're doing it with you. And then do it yourself, as you probably guessed, is where you do everything yourself. So basically you sell someone all the resources, all the tutorials, everything they need, and then they just go through your program and they just implement themselves without your input. That's just the kind of difference. And then, do you want to stay one-to-one for now or build something scalable? Okay, so I'm just going to talk into this. So my favorite client to work with would probably be actually sales reps, because I used to be one, so I kind of understand the audience a lot. Also founders, because I've worked with a lot of founders as well. I'd probably start with one-to-one and then shift to done with you, most likely, just for ease of scalability, because I do want to build this so it is scalable. And maybe I'll license this later and kind of turn it into a system. But yeah, that's kind of what I want to do. Then just click tick and click send. Perfect, cool. So the dream outcome is kind of, and I'm going to run you through the kind of value offer later when we look at who to sell to, which will be the next episode. But the dream outcome is kind of, what is the client looking for? Like, what's the dream for them and like what they want from your service or your product? So in my case, it would be helping sales reps and founders consistently close high ticket deals and book 3 to 5 qualified meetings per day using LinkedIn and DM based selling frameworks. So that's kind of the dream outcome for the client. So they go, oh my God, I can book 3 to 5 qualified meetings a day. That's amazing. That's exactly what I want. Proven experience. Let's just kind of run through what we've already gone through. Delivery method. So how will this be delivered? So will it be one-to-one? Will it be done with you, done for you, or do it yourself? Time to result, clients can book meetings within 1 week and close deals within 2 to 3 weeks. Obviously, you can adjust this on what you know is actually possible. That's fine. And client effort required, moderate. They execute the frameworks and messaging you provide with guided feedback, real-time support. So what it's going to do is going to collate all that knowledge, and it's going to create what's called an offer statement for you. And you may have seen this if you're on LinkedIn, but basically people have this as their headline, but it's just a simple sentence which says exactly what you do and who you help. So I help B2B sales reps and founders close high-ticket deals and book 3 to 5 sales meetings per day in under 30 days without cold calling or relying on paid ads. So it's just a simple sentence of that's exactly what I do. And so when someone asks you, go, hey, I heard you're starting a business. What do you do? You say the offer statement. And it's just something so simple that so many businesses don't do. And it's just, if I had that on my headline and someone read that and went, oh my God, I'm a B2B sales rep, I want to close high ticket deals, they'll go, oh wow, you can help me. That's the reaction you want. UVP statement is what's called unique value proposition. Basically, it comes back to a differentiator, what makes you special, what makes you unique. So I help with conversational sales systems and LinkedIn DM selling so that B2B sales reps and founders can turn conversations into consistent high ticket deals without relying on outdated cold outreach or unpredictable ad spend. So this is basically like, it's feeding into the pain of the actual audience, or what's called the avatar, so the person that you target. It's like they don't want unpredictability in the ad spend. They don't want outdated outreach. So it's basically a unique value proposition that you can then also put within your offer, which is quite nice. So this is really important. We've also, so I've built this into the GPT, it's going to validate that offer. So what a lot of people do is they think, oh wow, I can help with drone filming, for example. That's what I used to do. And they don't go out and they don't validate it first. They don't actually talk to the customer. They don't talk to the client who they're actually going to be helping and go, hey, what do you actually want me to do? Because the thing is, you go out with this offer, but if there's no demand for it, you're not going to sell it. So you have to validate the offer and make sure there's actually demand before you go out and sell it. So I've kind of helped you a little bit with the GPT, but the best way to find out if your offer is validated is speaking to the person that's actually going to buy your offer. So I might go speak to sales reps, and I already have. So you have to talk to your audience and understand what they want, and then you build that offer on that. But I've kind of given you a little head start with validation. So urgent, painful need. So is there a need for your product? Yes. Does your audience have purchasing power? So can they afford what you're offering? The answer is yes, they can. Founders and commission sales reps are incentivized to invest. Is it a growing market? So if I went and sold to newspapers, that's a dying market. So very quickly you're going to go out of business. So you have to choose a market, or you have to choose an audience which is growing. So now with this whole online space of like become a high ticket closer and shit, this is a growing market. So that's good. Targetable audience. Yes, I can get in front of them. They're on LinkedIn, they're in sales groups. That's cool. So how easy are they to get in front of? Short sales cycle. So at the beginning, you don't want a long sales cycle, which basically means a long time to receive payment from the client. You want it to be really, really quick, sharp, upfront payment, because you are just starting out. So you have to get that profit. You have to make money as soon as possible, because if I then sold something on them and they don't actually make payment until 6 months time when you deliver the product, you've got to wait 6 months when you're not earning anything. So you've got to get that payment as quickly as possible. And the sales cycle, so how quickly do they come into contact with you and then purchase, has to be extremely short. And is it monetizable? Can I make money from it? Yes, I can. Cool. 7-figure validation. So the demand level and trend direction is high and it's trending upwards. That is good. Is there 7-figure potential? I've made it so it gives you a score. So 8.5 out of 10 for me. So there is possibility to get to 7 figures. So of course we're trying to build $1 million offer. Is that even possible? Yes, it is in this case. Cool. And it's also said, look, if you charge 3,000 to 5,000 per client and close 20 to 30 a year, that scales to $500,000 already. And then you could even license that system and get to 1 million. So it's giving you suggestions. ICP fit. ICP just means ideal customer profile. So who's your ideal audience, basically. So SDRs, BDRs, closers wanting better lead flow and commissions, founders of early stage B2B services. Now, We will go into more detail on the ICP side and the audience in the next episode. First, I wanted to actually give you an offer that you could sell. Strategic trend signal. So this is kind of like what they've noticed, so the client themselves, and why they need your service. They might have noticed there's a decline in ad performance. So they know they need to shift to organic, which is what I can help them with. So you're solving a problem. You have to make sure you're solving a problem. Then it will put it into a table for you. So ideal client, dream outcome, proof, delivery, time to result, client effort, pricing strategy, and scalability path. And then you can literally just copy this table, put it into a doc, and you have your offer. That's it. So that's what I wanted to do with you today. The GPT will be below. Build out your offer, get it ready. You can go back and forth with the GPT. If there's something you don't like, go, hey, look, I don't want to do this one-to-one from the start. I want to do this done with you. Just talk to it, go back and forth until you have an offer that which you are happy with. And then we'll go into the next episode and we'll find the people who we are actually going to sell to.